You are now rocking to DWL, Dream Without Limits Radio.
Welcome back to another episode of Dream Without Limits Radio. It is your favorite host, Alexander here. I am here with Meosha Bean, superstar, film producer, actress, artist, and of course, a woman of powerful, awesome, regenerating, whatever adverbs or verbs or whatever we could use to kind of, I know adverbs, so I apologize to my listeners who are grammar police. But, you know, this woman is just that amazing where I have to kind of give her a grandeur introduction before letting her take the stage. So, Meosha, if you could, gladly let the people know who you are, what you do, and how are you out here changing the world.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
I can start from the beginning. When I was younger, which I'm the baby of, I have one older brother and two older sisters. Mm-hmm. So, growing up, I tend to be a loner and hung out by myself. And, I tried to hang out with my brothers and sisters, but I was too young and I was annoying to them. So, I started, finding myself imagining a lot of things. I could look at something like beach playing in the backyard, and then I can picture myself in a jungle, going through the safari, just, making, just imagining things, and just, I would have tons of fun by myself. And then I got older, as I got into movies and stuff, because my brother was in TV productions class, and he brought a camera home from school, and I picked it up, and I never let it go, and I just would film everything. I have VHS tapes of me as a kid.
Wow.
Doing like news reports, and I'm the news reporter, and I'm like, over Bill, back to you, Bob, that kind of stuff. And my mom has all those VHS tapes, so it's pretty funny to look back on those things that I was doing. I was a very dramatic young kid.
Gotcha.
And as I gotten older, I just never put it down. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew that's what I wanted to be, was a filmmaker, to create, because I've always created in my mind and, in just life. And it was like an escape way for me to just be somewhere that I wasn't, but I am there in that moment because I just thought it up, or, so it was, yeah. And then I got as I got older and, a young woman in my teens, I got into modeling and got into acting school, and that was really fun. So my parents really supported me, and they let me go to school, and, got to learn more about the craft and the arts. And so that was really fun, a great experience that I will never forget.
Right.
Modeling was really fun. I got a lot of jobs through that, but I just didn't think I was a model material because I'm only 5'3", 5'3", yeah, I'm really short. But my license says 5'4", if that give me any points.
It does.
So I kind of just, I just didn't believe in myself in the modeling, but I kept doing the, film and acting. And as I got older, I got more people started to recognize my work. So got part of this agency, this agent of mine. She was awesome. She actually was, at the time, from Pensacola, and she was working with Roy Jones Jr., the famous boxer.
Okay.
And at the time, I didn't really know who this guy was, so I never heard of him. I'm not big on boxing, so I'm like, what does he want? Who's this guy? So we met, and we hit it off, and met his family and his kids, and they are just amazing people. And he wanted me to do some things for him, and I did some videos and shot his sparring videos of him and his upcoming boxers and at his gym. Okay. So it was really good work. It was awesome. It was a good experience. And then everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're working for this guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." Who? He's like, "Do you know who he is?" I'm like, "No, not really." They're like, "He's like the best boxer of all time." I'm like, "Oh gosh, is he?"
Right.
So back when I was living in Pensacola, like I didn't know, because when we go out some places, people want his autograph, and like, okay, this guy must be pretty cool or whatever. It still didn't really hit me how awesome this guy really is until like he talked to me, and I'm like, wow, you are amazing.
True.
Yeah. So then the lady who was over him was interested in me. She wanted to manage my career. And it was a blessing, because I wasn't looking. I was like, well, God, if anything comes of it, you have to show me what to do, because I didn't know really what I was going to do after that. And she was interested in me. She signed me, her company, and I got work through her, and a lot of jobs. I met a lot of people through her, a lot of celebrities and things like that. So I'm very happy that she was interested in me, right? Because I'm like, I didn't think I was all that. I'm like, I'm just love doing what I do.
Right.
Creating things. So it was pretty awesome that, I got to do that through her, and, meeting Roy and working with him for about 2 years. Oh, wow. So that was a really good experience. And yeah, very, very lots of things that I've seen, lots of things, part of the industry that I got to learn, the good and bad side of the industry. So that was good for me.
Now, in your world, being a woman in the film platform of the industry, what's that adversity like for you versus a black male or a white male in your field?
Well, I think women in the field that I am in, women, it's not. I mean, there are filmmakers that are women in this industry, but we're not. It's kind of like we're looked. Now, I'm not gonna say looked down upon, but they always say it's a man's world. It's men dominate in this field, and we are looked upon somewhat a bit differently, because I guess when a woman is doing really well, guys kind of feel intimidated somewhat. Not all the time, but it can seem that way. Because I mean, even in acting field, it's like, they want you for the pretty girl role, less clothes role. You can't be the smart and educated woman. You rarely see that. It's a lot of, they want you to take off your clothes. They want you, because, it's like you're kind of,
sex sells, or whatever they say. Yeah.
Yeah. And it does. It's sad, it does. Sex sells. And one day I pray that we will get away from that.
Right.
And start to pay and kind of just support films that have a good message,
right.
And not just nudity or, you know what I mean? Just a good message for people to just go and watch.
Right.
And not to, it's not all about sex to me.
Now,
but
how do you in your film, productions, like how do you make sure you combat that? Because obviously, that's the industry we're in. Slammed with sex in every realm, from photographers to clothing, because as people listening to this radio show, they know that I'm a CEO of a clothing company. So how do you get from the sex and all of the craziness and stay focused on your craft and still put out a solid message that people that isn't going to be boring?
Yeah. Well, for me, I think that's a good question, actually. For me, I think I would say you just have to know yourself, and you got to know. When you come into this industry, you got to know what you want to portray. What you got to know what you want to share with the world. You got to know what you do. You got to know what kind of the topics that you talk about. You got to really know yourself, because anybody can come around and say, oh, we'll tweak it like this and put a little bit of this in there, and then you'll change. And then it's like, it's not yours anymore, but it's become somebody else's.
Right.
So I think you have to really know yourself and know what you want to do and stick to your guns, because it's really easy to get like
sidetracked.
Yeah, it is easy to get sidetracked and get kind of to change because, oh well, yeah, your movie might have a good message, but it's not going to be seen by a lot of people. Well, who cares? At least it has a good message, and somebody out there who sees it their lives will be changed from it. That's what I like. It might not be seen by millions or billions of people, but at least someone, that one person that I touch, can be changed forever. Just that, from that message.
Right.
And that's very important to me.
Now, as you continue forward, how do you, stay grounded? How do you not conform? Because I'm sure that's the tough part of, man, like, you're in the religion. You kind of drop a lot of religious pieces here and there. That's not your main focus, but you have. And so how do you get to a point where it's like, all right, Meosha, like, we need you to get out of this field. We need you to get out of doing this. This is not going to make you any money in the long run. How do you fight those voices that you hear from other people, and probably the voices in your head that sometimes kind of starts to agree, like, maybe I should, do it, do this, and maybe this would bring me more money. How do you kind of don't lose your faith almost, and compromise yourself in your path?
Right. For me, I know, like I said, growing up in my dad and my mom, they were in the church. My dad's a pastor, and they travel around the world and they preach, and they're everywhere preaching. So for me, growing up in it, at first it wasn't something I took seriously. But when I got older, I started to rely on God more, because when you get on your own, it's like your parents prayers can't always save you. You have to go for yourself, So, and then there's things that I did go through that when I was by myself, I was like, God, I need your help. There was this director that was telling me, oh, I can, we could use you in this movie, but it was all I had to do was kind of like seduce this man on camera, and kind of that kind of thing, and that's not me.
Right.
I know who I am. I don't have a problem saying no to those type of roles, but the role, the way he put it sounded so good at the time. It was like, oh, you'll be on this channel, you'll be on this show, you'll be on this. It was with a really big company in LA, that works with Warner Brothers and things like that. And I'm like, it sounds good, but I wouldn't, I would make it and be huge, but I don't want to be known for that. And then, you know what I mean? Like, that just wasn't something that set right with me. So I told him I couldn't do it. And he was like, oh, Meosha, you're making a wrong decision. You shouldn't, we should definitely do this, because you have to get away from what you're doing to make it. You have to do different things. You have to basically conform and do what they want me to do in order to make it. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I just can't. So it was something that was tough, but I said no.
And you had to stand your ground and just make sure that you didn't lose yourself, like you said, in the process. Absolutely,
because it's so hard to lose yourself, because it's something you want so bad, and people are willing to do anything to do it, to get it.
Right. Now, how do you kind of spread your light in this industry that, some may look at as kind of dark? How do you kind of keep this positive, this upbeat, battling the concept of maybe you might get turned down from a gig because you're a woman? How do you stay motivated in this film industry?
Man, I tell you, once again, I had to say, my relationship with God is so important to me, and I think that's what kind of keeps me grounded. Well, I know that's what keeps me grounded. In a lot of situations, in a lot of areas of my life, like, a lot of people may not look at life through the same lens that I do, because I really depend on God, and in every situation I go through, I consult God and everything, because I just don't just do anything. For me to keep this upbeatness about myself, it's definitely God, because it gets tough. It really gets tough, It gets tough, and it sometimes gets hard, and it gets lonely, because you don't really you can't really let everybody in your circle,
Right.
because not everybody really is out there to help you.
Right.
Everybody's not out there to push you. Some people unfortunately want to just use you and to break you and to change you to
Right.
be like them. And I think that's really important. Once you have to be really careful of who you surround yourself with,
Right.
and who you associate yourself and what you be around, because that's what ultimately kind of, I think, changes or kind of like helps you maneuver in this field. Like, you have to really be careful. It's like walking on eggshells. You don't want to choose the wrong door, because the wrong door can destroy everything you just made. Really, it really can.
Understood. Now, how many films would you have said you've worked on in your time, and how do you balance, stay family driven, check in on the few people you have in your circle, get some free time for yourself? Like, how do you handle all of this? I will say I probably worked on over more than 50 films. Wow.
I don't really know the exact number per se, but I definitely would say, it's definitely over 50, because, working with other people and other production companies and just, whether it be, music videos, short films, movies, whatever the case is, or editing videos. It's been a lot. But for me, I think I think the people that I do hang out with, like they've been in my life for a long time, and I trust them with my eyes closed. Like, I trust them. They're like a brother and sister to me. So, and I have my family, my circle, that are my greatest supporters in this world. And my mom and dad, who always been there from day one, and they're still together, and they're just still rooting for me, and they help me when I go through things, because God knows I haven't had it this perfectly all my life. There's times that I had problems that I was like not eating. Some days I would just not eat because I'm serious. Like, I would just want to, I needed to get this thing done. I wanted to get this video done. So I believe in my project so much. I'm like, you know what? I'm not eating tonight. I'm not going to eat. But my parents were always there. I didn't like to always rely on them. But when I did, it's like, Mom and Dad, I didn't eat today, or I really need your help. And they would come through for me. So I really say my parents are my rock.
Right.
They've always helped me, and my brothers and sisters, they're great too. They're awesome. I love them.
Now, what would you say to somebody that may not have that strong support group? Because then somebody may argue and say, "Well, I don't have family and friends and people like that." So what kind of, not really advice, but what do you want to say to them? Like, how would you want to motivate them if you could in this? Well, now you have an opportunity to motivate them. So what would you say to that person who's struggling and like, I just don't know about this film industry, like nothing's coming up, I feel like I have to conform? Like, what do you want to say to them?
Yeah, never ever give up. Like, no matter, I know it gets lonely sometimes, and I know it gets hard when you don't have any family or friends to rely on. You have to just trust in God. I believe that once you have that, and you know who you are and what you want to do, and you're self-driven, you're not depending on you're not just looking at anybody else and what they're doing. You just trust and you believe in what you want to do. Just stay focused. Don't give up, because I promise you, if you don't give up and you work hard, something's got to come up from it, because I believe that God watches over his people. Because I don't know how to explain it. I just know without God through all my struggles, I wouldn't have ever made it.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
It's even when I had my family and people that supported me, there was times that I was by myself. Like, I felt so alone, and like, even when I didn't know if God was even with me during the struggles, like during the times that I was like, am I gonna ever get any like recognition for my work.
Right.
You know, because I've always said, God, I know you gave me this gift for a purpose and a reason. You may not know what it is for, but you know, just use it. Use that gift God's given you. Don't throw it away, because God gives us gifts for a reason. Maybe to reach someone, to help someone. Who knows the reason, their purpose is, but never give up. So, and know your self-worth, who you are. So no one can change you.
Right.
No one.
Awesome.
No matter how much money they offer. don't conform to something you do not believe in.
Wow. And now, and obviously for those who are listening, I mean, you can tell that you're passionate about this, and I'm sure you've been tested and tempted and tried and been looked upon as you've been in this industry. So so I applaud you for pushing and keeping going and staying in your realm and not conforming to the masses. Now, what projects do you have next coming up that you'd like to share with the audience?
I have a couple of projects. The most recent one that's coming up this summer is called, it's a thriller film. Okay. It's called Camera Phone 2. It's part 2 of, it's like part 1's on Amazon. They can buy it and stuff like that. But part 2 I'll be in. I'm acting in it, and I actually co-directed it alongside a great director, Eddie Brown. I think who's in Atlanta. He was based out of LA, but he's now in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's pretty awesome. So that's going to be out this summer, and I have a couple of films that I want to do and some things that I'm going to be working on soon. It's kind of under hush hush. I want to kind of surprise everybody. But it's going to be great.
Okay. Now, is there a site where they can reach you and then kind of find all your social media stuff too? Or?
Oh, yeah. I'm on Facebook, Meosha Bean, and I'm also on YouTube, Meosha Bean 1. I just recently joined Instagram, which I am still learning, people. Yay. So forgive me if I'm like not doing it right. Or uploading like 10 pictures in one day. Okay. So yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's Meosha Bean 1, and Twitter MVB Films at Meosha Bean. So. Okay,
and she'll give me all this stuff so that I can include in at least a couple links in the episode. So no worries, guys. So you don't have to write your hearts out or try to figure out how you spell Meosha. And so yeah, I definitely want to thank you for being on this episode and kind of sharing some of your struggles and the things that you've been through and how you're not changing just because the industry wants you to. So that's very much so to be applauded. And for all of our listeners, our foolies that are tuned in, look, to be a dreamer and to be a foolie, like you can't really look at anyone else's success and try to measure it close to yours, or you can't really try to be like other people. And you do have to stand your ground and really stay in your own lane. And if that's your choice and that's your lane, and it may seem weird and awkward and you may feel like you're the only one, but trust me, eventually you'll have everyone trying to be like you.
That's
so,
right.
We definitely appreciate you once again, and thank you to all of our listeners. Don't stop dreaming, don't stop believing. We want you to live out your dreams and really go after the things you're passionate about and your purpose. So, and you're a woman that exudes that, so you already know. And we hope to have you back on in the future as you have new projects and other things coming out.
For sure. Yeah, I love to be. Thank you.
Awesome, no problem. So, anybody who's listening, you know where to find me, you know where to reach me, so you can email me, contact me, Facebook me, all of that good stuff, and we're out.